You've heard all about them, the Waikiki Street Festivals. This one is in September. This is the Waikiki Street Jam. All this footage is from Saturday, September the 6th. It's evening at the time I'm filming this. The actual festival runs from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. And I say festival, block party, however you want to mix it up. This one starts here at the corner of Kalakaua Avenue and Seaside Avenue. Now the road closures start early at about 2 p.m. That way all the vendors can set up. I'm gonna walk a little bit farther down here. So if you're coming into Kalakaua Avenue, traffic will be rerouted down Seaside Avenue. So we're gonna walk down this together. This shows the traffic. It is barely moving, barely moving. At this point, it's not moving. And just as a point of reference, there is a Ross clothing store on my right-hand side. So I'm kind of midway down Seaside Avenue. I wanted to show this to you guys so you fully understand how you should definitely be very aware of traffic, especially if you're coming into Waikiki or to your Waikiki hotel or Airbnb on the day of a street festival. Again, street festival, block party, I use those words interchangeably. Some of them will have music, stages, bands. It just depends on what company or what vendor is hosting. And I will do my best to email you guys all of these different festivals as they come across. I'll also be posting them, so if I'm walking around Waikiki and I know that there's a festival coming up, I'm gonna try to film this. That way you guys can see what it looks like. Not all festivals are the same. Some focus on food, some on arts and crafts, some on live music. It just depends. This one is going to be mostly vendors. So food, arts and crafts, local artisans, all kinds of items. I'm walking through this, and not to worry, I didn't forget. Somebody commented, I'm not sure who, but someone commented that you guys want to see both sides of the street festival. So I'm walking down the right-hand side here to show you a little bit of what's at this festival, and then next I'll be walking on the left side on the walk back so you guys get the full view. I'm walking decently fast, but if you've seen the bulk of this video, it's about a 30-minute long video. If you haven't already, make sure you download my free printable Hawaii travel planner. It's a one-page PDF printable. You can print it out, scribble on it, and have a better idea of how to plan your trip, especially for festivals, so you can plan around it. If you had an evening event tonight, for example, a luau, a dinner cruise, one, that is awful for traffic, but two, what if you wanted to go to this festival but you didn't know that it was happening? Typically they're on the weekends, on Saturdays. So as we walk throughout this festival, I'm going to show you guys a few things, and yeah, enjoy this walk with me. There is so much arts, clothing. There is so much arts. There are so much arts. Anyway, there's flowers you can purchase, artificial as well as some real flowers. Some of these artisans are pretty cool. You can also buy these leis as well. This area that we're right in front of right here is the Royal Hawaiian Shopping Center. Just to give you some points of reference, the Cheesecake Factory is just up ahead. There is so much food that you can get while you're here. That line for the corn typically is super long. I would definitely recommend to try to get here a little bit earlier in the day. As you can tell, the later in the evening it goes, it gets really crowded. A lot of the food vendors typically will start wrapping up about an hour or so prior. Some of the really tasty food vendors that have the really yummy plate lunches, they might run out closer to around 8 o'clock. So if this is something on your must-do list, I would probably head over closer to about maybe 4 or 5 o'clock. It officially starts at 4, but I would say 5 is a pretty good time where everyone's fully set up. The food is out, the desserts are out, the juice, here's another really good example. This is the pineapple juice that they make fresh. Further down, you'll also see a section where they make sugarcane juice. They have the machine or the press right out front, and you can see the sugarcane too. Cheesecake Factory again that I mentioned earlier right there. And I mentioned some of these restaurants or hotels mostly for points of reference. Kalakaua Avenue is a decently long road, and if you're not super familiar with the cross streets of what street is what, it might be easier to navigate a bit, as I mentioned, restaurants or hotels as opposed to specific street names. Now within the description box, I'll make sure to put down some of the street names, but just for this super casual walking tour, I'll just mention a few hotels and restaurants. So on my left hand side is the International Marketplace, if that's a really good frame of reference for you. And then the hotel to my right hand side, just behind this, is the Outrigger Waikiki Beach Resort. I'm trying to get some really good clips here. So more food, so much food. And I'm trying to give you a bit of a frame of reference for the crowd too. It gets very, very busy. Very, very busy. There's one for jewelry. Over here, more jewelry. Some wood carvings. To the right, Kona Coffee Farms Wholesale. There's a lot here. As you can see on the right hand side there, that Kona coffee shop also has some samples that they're giving out. So some of these vendors will have samples. Oh, there we go. On the left hand side, the international marketplace that I mentioned. And this is the entrance that has the Tesla on it. So if you're not super familiar with this area, this side is the Tesla side. The opposite side is where the parking entrance is. So just to kind of, again, mention as many things as possible. So if you're familiar with certain parts of Waikiki, I want to make sure that you kind of know where we're at throughout the walk. So on the right hand side over here, Outrigger Waikiki that I had mentioned. There's a Thai food vendor. As you can see, they're already packing up at this stage. I believe when I was filming this, it was around, I want to say it was around 8 o'clock or so. There we go, more food, wings on that side. Over on the right hand side is the Moana Surfrider. So this is super important, especially if you're staying at an oceanfront property. I've mentioned this in a few videos, but if this is your first video, oh, I take it back. It is 9:20 when I film this. That explains why a lot of the vendors are shutting down. My bad. Anyway, okay, so let's keep going. On the right hand side, Moana Surfrider. As I was mentioning, I mentioned these hotels, especially the oceanfront hotels, because if you are staying at one of these oceanfront properties on a day or an evening that you're arriving to the islands, as you can see, all of this main road is completely shut down. So most of those hotels, they'll typically email the guests or call guests, let them know that if you're arriving on that date, where the alternative parking is. Some of the oceanfront hotels have partnerships with other hotels or parking garages for their guests. I would definitely make sure to check, especially if you're arriving in the summertime. And by summer, I mean June, July, and August. At this stage, it's September. But for June, July, and August especially, there's probably a block festival or block party like every weekend or every other weekend. So it is definitely something to keep in mind. It's not difficult, I would say, to do this. But if you are able to time it correctly, for example, if you were arriving on a Saturday, road closures start at 2. If you are able to get an earlier flight in and maybe arrive around noon, you would miss a lot of the road closures. But as I showed earlier in the video, those road closures keep going. Festival starts at 4. So of course, road closures have to be earlier to allow all these vendors to set up. There are some stickers, really good for water bottles. I popped into this stall earlier when I was kind of breezing around. And then Moana Surfrider is right on my right hand side. There's so many different Aloha prints. So Aloha print is the floral print over here on the right hand side. Some of those are really bright. In general, I would say the muted colors are typically more popular. However, sometimes those bright, fun colors could be a bit of a novelty. These hats, and oh, these are so cute. These are leis for puppies or dogs. Super adorable. Pet lei, oh, how cute. Okay, let's keep it going. Coming up ahead is the Hyatt Regency on my left-hand side. There's a little bit of a sugary treat on the right-hand side for snacks. Coming up ahead, we've got some live music. Now, for some of the other block festivals, again, typically in the summer season, as in June, July, and August, there will be multiple stages with different types of music all up and down this festival. But of course, it varies month to month, week to week. So it's always good to check out prior to arrival if this is something on your must-do list. Again, lots of traffic, especially for the festival, but overall these are super fun. So if you're in the area, I would definitely recommend it. Instead of eating at a restaurant or something like that, just for this evening, try out some of the local food vendors. Some of those local food vendors will have actual full-on restaurants throughout the island. Some of them will come from the North Shore, some over on the east side. So if you're looking to explore other restaurants, maybe you're staying in Waikiki and you didn't get a rental car, but you want to try some other food, again, some of those vendors do come down to Waikiki just for the block festival with a limited menu, but it allows you to try some food that is different and has a nice local twist to it. Now, for those of you who have been asking me in the comments in the videos, for these block festivals, how come it looks like it's all adults? Is it 21 and up? How are the streets blockaded? And I will gladly answer that question. In general, if you've noticed in the videos, I typically, if I see kids or children within the street or the area, I do my best to actually crop them out. So as you can see on the right hand side, there's obviously families, and the street is not blockaded in any way whatsoever. This is not a 21 up event. It's an all ages event, completely free of charge, all ages. And of course, yes, this is a public space. There's no restrictions, but in general, I do try to keep kids out of my videos, especially if it's in a public space like this. If the kids are pretty far away and you can't really see their faces, I'll leave that on, and occasionally sometimes I will miss a few whenever I'm trying to crop out of this. This is of course a public space, but in general, whenever I'm editing, I do try to crop any kids or families out just for privacy reasons. Again, I realize it's a public space and I don't have to do that, but I just do. So for those of you who've been asking, this is not a 21 and up event. It is all ages, kids, adults. You just don't see a lot of kids, especially when I'm editing, because I do my best to crop a lot of them out. If they're really close to the camera or walk directly in front of me, I will do my best to crop them out. As I'm sure you've noticed, we've been walking for a minute now. So if you're not a fan of larger crowds or anything like that, this might not be the festival or event for you, unless of course you come earlier in the day. It's of course the evening. A lot of people are out at this stage. We're coming up near the end of the block party / festival. As you can see, this road is also blockaded off. And I'll show you guys which intersection I'm on. This is Ulu New Street, and again, we are walking on Kalakau Avenue. Alright, now we're going to turn around and check out the rest of the festival. And as promised, I am walking on the other side of the festival. In previous videos, I typically would walk straight down the middle, and I've again had lots of comments where you guys are like, hey, I want to see more of the shops, the vendors. Of course, I'm not going to go into the shops and film, but I'm trying my best as I'm walking past. You can get a bit of a sampler for what's here. More food vendors, so much food. I love eating, especially at these places, these spots. You can always try something new, which is nice. This one has some matchas. This one, let's see, what else is over here? Lots of food. Let's see some, what is that, Italian food it looks like. And a little bit more on the right hand side over here. So these vendors, oh, excuse me, that is the Hyatt Regency Hotel that I mentioned earlier in the video. So this is the main Hyatt Regency, not to be confused with the Hyatt Place or the Hyatt Centric, which are also Hyatts within Waikiki. This is the largest Hyatt. Got Thai food over here. Some more vendors, more food vendors. So within the festival, it is mixed, so it's not just all food vendors in one section, all arts and crafts in one, all clothing. I'm not sure how they actually pick the specific stalls. It might be price based, it might be first come first serve, but it's mixed in throughout the entire festival. This is the sugarcane juice that I mentioned at the very beginning of the video. I remember seeing 2 of these vendors. And if you've actually had questions on the Hyatt Regency, I've made a walking video for that specific property. All right, let's see what else is there. See, pasta on the right hand side, t-shirts, souvenirs, clothing, lots of items, sarongs, leis, more sundresses, cover-ups. Okay, lots of different options. I love how some of these stores will also have the family version, so they'll have like the mom version, the dad version, the kids version, the baby version, all the different options. I think that's so adorable. It's super, super cute. Okay, we've got some Aloha charms on the right hand side. Great for souvenirs. Wow, lots and lots of vendors. We're coming up to that same area that we were at before where they have the live music, but it was on the left hand side. So all this traffic, as you can see, this road is entirely closed off. So this is something to note too, especially if you're staying at one of those properties on the corner. If you are coming in with rental car, same thing with taxi, Uber, Lyft. Taxi is metered, so if you're coming in on a block festival day, that might be a little bit tricky, especially with the traffic. Similarly for Uber and Lyft is of course set fares before you actually click it. However, keep in mind that if there's a block festival and maybe your destination is Waikiki, it might be harder to get an Uber or Lyft on those days, or there might be surge pricing just because people, knowing that the block festival is happening, may not be accepting all of the rides, or you might be rerouted. I don't think I've actually ever come into Waikiki on the day of a festival. From the airport, I'll typically avoid flying on Saturdays. there are some postings online, and like I said, I'll make sure to mention these within the e-newsletter. If you're not already signed up, make sure you do sign up for the weekly e-newsletter. Here I'll put in some Hawaii updates, some upcoming videos. I'm so glad that you guys are tuning in. If you're watching this far, thank you. It has been a hot minute since I've done a little bit of filming, so I'm super excited that I'm getting back into the mix of things, especially for Q4. I cannot get over how many different items there are here. It's super fun. Like, I love these things. Some people don't like them. They see Block Festival and they're like, oh, traffic. But if you're walking around, I mean, driving in for the Block Festival may not be the best if you're staying outside of Waikiki. But similarly, let's say you're staying on the west side, on the Ko'olina side, and you definitely want to come in for this. That's totally fine. Just plan accordingly. So again, road closure started too. If you were coming in from the west side or the north shore just for this festival, you could potentially park at the international marketplace, but go early. The reason I mentioned that is because the parking lot entrance, for the international marketplace is on the opposite side on Kuhio Avenue. Parking, I believe, is validated for a few hours, but beyond that, of course, there's an hourly rate. For things like this, if you're not sure where to park, although it is a bit more expensive to park within some of these shopping centers, at least you know your car won't be towed, especially in some of the side streets. If you don't pay attention to the signage, some places don't allow you to park past 6 p.m., past 9 p.m., or you can't park unless it's between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. It varies throughout Waikiki. So again, if you're doing street parking, be super, super vigilant. I've had quite a few friends who've come into Waikiki, weren't super vigilant about the signs. They've either gotten towed or a very expensive ticket. The towing is, of course, way more expensive. Having to go get your car, it's a complete hassle. On the right-hand side is the International Marketplace, that Tesla store that I mentioned before. Oh, these are cool. These are some little paintings. And then let's see what else. Oh my. And more food. and more food. It's super interesting watching these videos on the way back. I think maybe next time I'll do the narration while I'm on the walk, but it's so hard to both walk, film, and speak at the same time. Not because the coordination, but just the sound. It's kind of hard to see in the video because I've tuned the volume of the outside noise, but typically, if you've been watching my videos, my mic picks up everything, so it's very hard to kind of filter out. There is another one of those sugarcane juice stands. I'm not sure if they're all the same. I didn't notice the sign, but there's plenty. Different fruits. There's a few ice cream shops. Maui Brewing Company is right here. So we're coming up to the Beachcomber by Outrigger property on the right-hand side. That's where they have that Cirque du Soleil show as well. I believe they do 2 shows in the evenings on select days. More arts and crafts over here. Great for gifts. I think these are super fun, especially if you're trying to get souvenirs for family and friends. Getting your souvenirs here is a little bit more unique than getting just the standard Hawaii t-shirt. These are typically made by actual locals who live here as opposed to just repurchased items. And it's nice because you get to talk with the artists, you get to talk with the creators, you get to talk with the person who made whichever items. There was a booth a little bit farther down where they had somebody who was carving something in wood and then was actually selling those items. They have different sizes, of course, of the gifts that you can purchase, but a great idea if you're looking to get out of the box options and not just items. I remember seeing one small stand where they were selling honey, which is also, again, very small, very easy and packable, but not the standard t-shirt, if you will. Coming up over here on the right, you'll see the Cirque du Soleil show that I mentioned earlier and the Beachcomber by Outrigger. Again, mentioning these hotels and spots, you kind of see whereabouts in Waikiki I'm walking and where I am on Kalakaua Avenue. More vendors. I'm also wondering too, so I'm putting together my list for what else I'm going to be filming for Q4. You guys seem to really love these Waikiki Now walks, so not to worry, I'll be doing one of these about every other week just to kind of show you a little bit of the scenery, what it looks like throughout the year, and I will try to mix up the time. I typically film in the morning because it is so hot whenever you're walking midday, but we'll mix it up a little bit. I'll show a walking video in the morning, in the evening, maybe midday, weekend versus weekday, just to give you some more variety on what it looks like in this area. I know some of you see some of these morning videos and think, oh, it's super empty in Waikiki, but then you see a video like this and you're thinking, oh my goodness, it's so crowded, it's crazy. And depending on the weather, if I am out and about and I see it starting to rain, I did one of those videos in December where I showed you guys what it looks like for December rain. I know some of you have emailed me and posted comments saying, what is the weather like during this time of year? October, November, December. You've heard that it dumps rain, but another really good question to ask when you hear that is, which island are you on and what time of year? So for example, on Kauai in December, it is known as the Garden Isle. It rains a lot in December on Kauai of all the different islands. And the reason I bring this up is if you're booking tours and activities that are weather dependent, such as luau's, which are outdoors, I always recommend to try to book those at the beginning of your stay. That way if something cancels, you have a few days to reschedule. Don't leave it for the last day, because if you do and it cancels due to weather, you won't get to go. All right, that ends our walking tour. We're back on Seaside Avenue. On to the next one, guys. On this one-page planner, you have everything that you need where you can jot down your details for your hotel, rental car, tours and activities, things that you want to do, and a general itinerary. You can also head to yestohawaii.com for even more Hawaii content. Places to eat, where to stay, and things to do. And if you'd like some done-for-you itineraries, check out the links in the description box below for some itineraries I've made just for you guys.